Hey there, crafty friends! Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. I'm going to be playing with these two adorable sets from the Not Too Shabby shop. This one here is called Sprinkled with Love, and look at these adorable treats and sentiments. And I decided to pair it with another adorable set. This one is called Sweet Surprise. I absolutely love this cute little bunny peeking out of this coffee drink, and together they are going to make a double extra cute card. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is create a mask for my little heart cookie sandwich. And what I like to do is use a little Post-it for that. It saves me time, and then I don't have to worry about using expensive masking paper, and it provides enough of the stick that I need to finish my project. I'm not worried about the stamp being perfect because it's just going to cover up my stamp that I do on my actual cardstock. I like to emboss my images, so I prepare it with an anesthetic tool before I go ahead and stamp my image using the VersaFine black ink. And once I have my image stamped, I'm going to go ahead and use some clear embossing powder over that. The cookie sandwich is going to be sitting in front of my little coffee drink, so that stamp is going to be in full view. Once I get my heat gun heated nice and hot, I melt that powder, and now it's time to go ahead and apply that little mask. So I'm just going to trim around the top where the cookie sandwich is going to meet the coffee drink. And then once I have that cut out, I can go ahead and place my coffee stamp on the platform. This little bunny image with the cup is going to just look adorable with that little heart cookie sandwich. So I'm just readjusting my mask here, prepping my stamp for its first inking, getting everything lined up just so that I can go ahead and get that stamped over the little sandwich. And just like that, I have an image that looks like one stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that using a nice heated up tool to melt that powder. And then you can see that there's two lines on the bottom that didn't completely stamp. So I'm just going to grab a Memento ink marker to fill that in. And then that works perfectly with Copics. So when I go to color, I'm going to use the E50s, the E55, the E31, and the E51 for my cookie. And I'm just going to start with my darker shade on the left and then blend it out with the 31. And once I have the cookie colored, I go in for a third color, and I initially had the E53, but I thought that that was just too dark, so I decided to go with the E51 instead for my lightest color, blending it all out. And then I'm going to add that second coat of color. I always find that once you get that second layer in there, that is when your image really starts to pop. So I do like to do two different layers of the Copic coloring. I'm going to color those sprinkles last. Now I just have the little cookie. And for the little cream filling, I'm going to use my warm grays. I start with the W1, blend it out with the W0 and then the W00. Then I'll go in with the W3 to add a definitive and deepened line. And then again, I'll blend that out with the lighter colors. I really like the way that the warm grays look for whipped cream and for any kind of a creamy topping. And I'm going to go ahead and color the top portion of the cream using the same colors. For the glass cup, I'm going for a clear glass, and so I'm going to use my cool gray markers and just lightly use 3 shades and blend that out, and that's going to give me a nice distinction from the warm grays and the cream. For the chocolate drizzle, I'm going to go in with the deepest color, the E47, blend that out with the E27, and then my lightest color will be the E25. I'll go ahead and add that second layer now. That really helps to deepen it and make that color pop. Once I get those chocolate drizzles colored, I'm going to color the coffee using the E40s. I like this combination, and I think that it offers a nice contrast with the cookie. colors. And so the E43 is my dark color, blending it out with the E42 and filling most of the cup in, leaving a few areas for some highlights using the E41. When you do your first layer, it never looks as good as it's gonna look once you get that second layer in. So that's why I do like to do that. But Copics do even out once they dry, depending upon the papers that you use. I like to use a hammer mill color digital cover, which is about 80 pounds. It takes the Copics really well, and I like the way that it blends better than the Nina 80 pound. Now for the bunny, I'm going to use the E40s again, using the E42, blending it out with the E40, and then, or E41 and the E40. And the ears, I'm going to use a E04 and the E30. Those are my favorite color for the ears. For the little cheeks, I use the RV00, and I think that the bunny turned out so cute. I just am in love with this image. Just adding a second layer to deepen the shadows. And then, oh, I'm sorry, the E01 is the one that I use with the R30. I think I said E04. I'm finishing up the coloring now, getting that straw pink and white using some R80s and the cool grays. I also colored the little sprinkles off camera, and that is my finished project. I think that it turned out so cute. So now on this panel, which is Bristol Smooth cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and do some ink blending. I wanted to have some pinks going into kind of a dark to light effect, so I'm using the darkest color there, and that is the Victorian Velvet, and just blending upwards. I'm using Distress inks so they don't go on as heavy as the oxides do, but I do prefer my little mini cubes. I love the vibrancy of the color, and it doesn't have that chalk look when you're done. It does take a little bit more effort and a little bit more time to get the blends that you want. And I do need to re-ink my little cubes. They are a little on the dry side, so it takes me a little bit longer than it would if I once I get the re-inker and get those nice and juicy again. I love the spun sugar for my lightest color, and it always looks much better and more smooth when you get that second layer of ink on there. And then you can even go a third layer if you want your colors to be darker. So the picked raspberry is that center color, and I think that it brings it all together once you get that Victorian velvet darkened up a bit. Once I have my little blend going, I want to go over it with a stencil. So I'm going to be using the Newton's Nook Tumbling Hearts stencil, and I'm just going to do some light coloring with the hearts. That's why I am just quickly taping it down. It does move a little bit, and I should have taped it down a little bit better, but I was just going for some light stenciled hearts in the center of the card just to give the background a little bit more interest. So I'm not concerned about it being perfect because they're just going to be faded in the background and just in the center of my card panel. So I'm just inking it up just enough to get that light effect, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some splatter. I like to splatter with water initially, and then that gives a nice little speckled look, but it's not too drastic, especially because my blend is lighter. I cover up the sentiment because I'm going to be splattering with some sparkle, and this is a glimmer mist, and it's a silver color, and it really is pretty. It's so sparkly. And then I'm also using some gold, and I think that that gives my panel just enough interest and contrast with that sparkle. So now that I have that down, I'm going to pop up my image with some double-sided foam tape, and I like to give a lot of coverage to that foam tape so that my image does not get smushed if it's going to go through the mail. I use liquid glue to adhere my layering to a little scalloped panel, and I'm going to adhere this to a A2 size card base from Nina. This is an 80-pound desert sand, I believe is what it's called, for my background. And I like the way that that craft makes my image pop since I have those browns, those coffee colors in there. I'm smoothing it out with my bone folder, and now I'm just going to adhere my image, and I like to add a few drops of liquid glue just for extra adherence, and then I'm just going to nicely push that down onto my panel. I noticed that my little cup has that white center, and so I'm just going to do some Copic coloring in there to make it blend into the background, and I think that that looks so cute. So once I have that colored, I'm going to move in with the final touches there, and I'm going to use some iridescent clear sequins from my stash and glue them on using some art glitter glue. And then that is going to finish my card. So it's a simple design, and then doing the masking makes the stamp look as if it's one image. And bringing those two stamp sets together, I think really just made for some extra cuteness and extra sweetness. So that is it. That is my project for today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you'll click on the link in the description box to check out the Not Too Shabby shop, where you can purchase these stamps and many other goodies. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye for now.